All right, guys, we're back. Continuation of my attempt at the Stevie Chan Memorial Tournament 2024, playing against Charlie, and he's rated a 597 at the time of filming. I was a 620 something, whatever it said there. But again, it's a preliminary rating, right? So I still need to get more games under my name. And came back the following day and I break dry to find that I've lined up a pretty delicious 1-9 combination. So if you saw the previous video, if you haven't seen the previous video, go check that out. I'll link the card here. Check that out first because this is round number 2. But the previous day, as you saw, um, there were a lot of 9-ball combinations that laid up and kind of unlucky situations, bad rolls. And I feel like I played well, all things considered. I did well. I took advantage of the chances that I had, and my game has definitely been improving. But I mean, this is tough. I mean, you break dry, and then he gets one on the board, nice and easy. So Charlie's a good player, and James is a good player, the guy that I played the day before. So I'm coming back on day 2, and I'm really just trying to keep my head on my shoulders, get my bearings again, and just figure out how to play through a little bit of weirdness here. Incidentally, I was assigned to the same table as the day before, so some of the same breaking action does occur as you saw with my break. With Charlie's break, the 9-ball stayed spotted basically right where it was, so maybe the rack was a little different that time, but we'll see what he makes out of this. He's got to try to get down here for the 2-ball. And he manages to squeak through and get a look at the 2. This is a pretty natural stop shot safety play available here, which is probably what he'll go for. And I had never played Charlie before, but I ended up seeing him out at some other event or online or something like that, and had won something, and so like can definitely play. And I think the other thing that I'm trying to think about more is to not feel so fixated on the Fargo. He plays a really good safety here, locking me up on the 8-ball, so I'll have to kick at this. It's not going to be jumpable. But yeah, guys, I'm trying not to get too fixated on the Fargo. I've been preoccupied with it for the last year, even though I'm not playing in a lot of ranked events, Fargo reported events, that is. But it's just, in my mind, it's trying to get a measure of how good I am, a slightly more objective measure. And I think ultimately it will be good for my game to have a better sense of that instead of just having to guess or to go based on results against other players. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So I make a good hit here. Definitely could have worked out much better than this instead of giving him an easy shot on the 2. He's got a little work to do to get on the 3, but you could try to pinch draw back for the 3 in the same pocket. This is a big window here to draw off the 2. You could theoretically roll through the 2-ball and come in and out. This is a little touchier, and cutting the 3 from there is a little more challenging. To come all the way around is asking a lot of the cue ball from there. Yeah, he decided to just pull back. I think that's the right play. I think it's much safer. We'll see if he can get around. Some players will try to come down table for the 5 in the left side, but it's a big window for the 5 in the corner. Anywhere up here would be fine. I think you let your stroke out here and come around for the 5 in the side, which he was trying to do, but he let up on it. Seems like he was trying to get down for the 5 in the side anyway. He's still got it in the top left corner, so he can make this work. Just come back across table for the 6. reset here. These are tricky. You know, you don't want to take this for granted, right? But speed control is important. I think I would probably want to play above the side pocket just to take that completely out of the equation. He plays this well, and he's going to get a little flat on the 6, which is just kind of unfortunate. You would really want to be on this side of the 6 so that you can come out for the 7. But I think he can still make something happen here. Realistically, even a stop shot, yeah, I think that's what he's looking at. Maybe stop or maybe punch over a little bit to the left of the 6 ball if he's feeling good. The 7 ball's still cuttable, and from there you cut the 7 to come back down for the 8 in the side. You're not going to mind that amount of cue ball travel. But he's got a pretty good steady style, you know, well considered. Goes for a little bit of draw, which tightens this up a little bit, but it's still a very playable cut shot. But yeah, I like his style. He's taken his time. He's got a solid plan. He's committing to his plan. We haven't seen a lot of Charlie yet, but I like what I see so far. So this is pretty natural, 2 rails out to get below the 8. These are easy to underhit though, so you do want to open this up a little bit. And this is going to work out great. And he's below it enough that he can play it pretty easily to this bottom right-hand corner. And probably cheat it just a little bit, play it down into the left side so that he can draw straight back. Oh, bobbles it. Yeah, he almost cheated it too much. A little maybe positional greediness there, but works out for him. And with this fluid stroke, he's able to put that one away and make a good run out off my hit attempt on the 2. So pretty solid break shot. I lose my cue ball, as you can see, or maybe it got kicked. I didn't actually see what happened with it, but cue ball's way up table. If we had a better look at the 1, this is a very runnable table. But tough opening shot on the 1. I know that if I attack this 1 ball, the cue ball's going to want to come across table or probably down, tracking between the 2 and the 9. I think at this point you have to just commit to making the ball. You're not going to be able to do too much with position. I didn't feel like I could do too much with position anyway. So you got to just level out. You're already down 2 games. You need to stay nice and smooth through this 1 ball. Make this and get some kind of look at the 2. A little snatchy. Yeah, a little snatchy on the backswing. We would have been okay-ish on the 2. We would have been in a similar spot if we had made the 1. The 2's pretty makeable from there. And the 3-8-9 is playable too. So really, as long as Charlie gets good on the 2, he should be out. Comes pretty thin off the 1, but dresses up back around for a nice look at the 2 ball. The 3 is always going to be available after the 2, so you just bear down and make this cut shot. Very slight cut. And then most likely we're taking the 8 to the bottom left, following up for the 9 in the top left. It's a very playable pattern here, but this is what I like, guys. He's not just jumping into it right away. Careful and considered. It's making sure that he's got a solid plan, decides where he wants to be and commits to it. Clearly, there's a lot of experience behind this cue. It's another thing about the Fargos. Oh, so he was dead straight on it. I thought he had a little bit of an angle. It's another thing about the Fargos, though. They can be deceptive sometimes, right? High or low. I mean, you can kind of psych yourself out looking at your opponent's ratings. And so I've committed myself to not, when possible, not looking up my opponent's rating before the match. Sometimes you see the draw and the opponent's ratings are right there next to it. Digital Pool will do that. But if I can avoid it, I just want to come in and play my best game. I do not want to focus too much on my opponent's ranking. Yeah, he's floating now. Good opportunity. I mean, I had a tough shot on the one, missed that, and he's clearing this table. Yeah, he's got to be feeling pretty good. Puts him up 3-0. And he's breaking from inside the table. The one ball cooperates. The two plays to the top left. And you can get a look at the three, but there's this cluster of the 5, 6, 7, 8. It's going to be hard to manage that. So I'll be curious. I don't remember what he does here, but I'll be curious if he tries to make the two. There's a pretty natural safe, coming reasonably full off the two and playing in behind this wall. I think it's pretty easy to hide the cue ball there. He might be lining up the 2-9, but I don't know if you would really want to go for that. It's a pretty thin back cut on the two. Maybe the consideration is you miss that and you're not going to necessarily sell out anything easy. And the two ball's going to track away from the 9, so you're not going to dress up a 2-9. I don't know. I don't know how many players would actually go for that. Yeah, he's got to commit to something, so let's see where he goes. Doesn't seem fully settled on it though, does he? Yeah. You got to play safe here, right? Just keep me off the table. Don't give me any chances. Or is he playing the two ball rail first into the 9? He... I don't know, guys. Maybe he was just trying to hide the two ball down there to dress up a 2-9 combination. I have an edge of the 2. This is very hittable. Maybe the idea is you hit that and try to send it to the other side of the pack. You could certainly try to kick into this, but I think the risk is if you miss the 2 or you hit it in such a way that it sends the 2 into the 9, then you're going to potentially leave a 2-9. I think that's why I don't end up kicking at it. Yeah, I came out way too far. Not happy with that. Two ball goes really easily now, and you can just come around for the 3. These can be tough matches, though, right? Where it just feels like you haven't had a break yet. I mean, you haven't really had a chance to put a little run together. I'm having to kick at stuff, and I have a tough shot after the break, and this one, my safety play didn't work out. So it's really just, for me to stay in this match, I really have to do some mental work to keep myself settled and take what I can get. Might have been a bit of a two-way, right? This is kind of sending the two ball into the 9, knowing that the cue ball is going to stay down there. I can definitely hit the top side of the 2 back there. I think what I'm looking at first is kicking into it to send it up table. Still not a great spot though, guys. We need a little bit of a roll to get into this. Do I have enough of it to bank it back towards the 9? No, I wanted to kick into it to send it up table. Maybe a two-way, right? I was kind of looking at potentially making it. Getting on the 5 is going to be tough. At any rate, the two-way works out. Leave him long. He's never going to give up ball in hand from here, but he's also not necessarily going to win the game from here unless he tries like bank the 2 into the 9 ball, which honestly from here, not terrible. 2 banks down here. You've got the rail, so it's pretty big pocket. Getting safe is kind of tough. I mean, you could theoretically come off the 2 and put somebody behind the 3, which I like that shot, but it's hard to control from this far away. Looks like he's aiming to the left side of the 2 as we see it. Oh no, he's going pretty full into it. He might be banking this. Yeah, I think he tried it. I think he tried a 2-9. Two doesn't pass between the 5 and the 6, I don't think. But again, we're in the situation where we just don't have great options. Nothing simple anyway. Playing the 2 into the 7 doesn't really make sense to me. Playing the 2-6-9 doesn't really make sense. The 2 cuts in the left side. So I mean, that is there. I might just be looking at trying to play the 2 past the cluster to get safe again, but yeah, nothing great. Looking at the cut angle into the side. I'm just going to power it in there and try to make something happen. Don't love that. Oh, I did have just a piece of it. Man. That must have been so thin between the 5 and the 6. I didn't even see it on the video. And it actually went right at the 9, but maybe just the wrong speed because the 9 bobbled out. That almost made the 9 ball. 2 does not appear to be frozen. 8 is hanging pretty deep in there. I think I popped over just to look to see if it was frozen, but if he can thin the 2, he could try to get me behind the cluster again. I do believe we were playing 3 foul, so that's available. And with a cluster like that, you might consider that play. Came pretty full into it. And he's selling out the 2. I'm not sure if he was trying to truly play the bank shot, because it certainly went that direction. Yeah, hard to say. You don't have that much of an angle on the 2 ball here, so trying to play into the cluster is tough. You'd have to really, really rock this cue ball to get it over to the other side of the table. I think you just consider coming off the 3 into the cluster instead of coming off the 2. So let's just focus on getting a good angle on the 3. Yeah, I don't love the breakout off the 2. I think we need to move past that and set ourselves up on the 3. I think this is the better play because now we have the angle off the 3 because you're coming pretty thin into that ball. It is going to naturally want to come away from the 3, but we bring it back down, tighten it up, and send it towards the cluster. There's a lot of good things that can happen if you run into this cluster. Very likely to end up with some kind of look at the 5, if not a shot on the 5. A little bit inside here, right? A little bit of right-hand spin to straighten this out. Perfectly into the 5. That played pretty nice. So I believe the 7 goes. It's hard to tell. If we're flat enough on the 5, we could sort of just pinch off it and get like anywhere up here on the 6 is going to be fine. Yeah, I think we can just draw off this. Maybe graze the 6. Oh, we had to play pretty full into the 6. All right, this is still workable. Play off the 6 into the 8. Like here and out. Back down. The 6 is going to stay contained for the most part. We don't need to send the 6 wild. The 6 is bankable. I think I was also looking at that play and draw back for the 7. Yeah, I think that's what we're looking at here, so that we don't have to run into the 8, send the 6 away. Oh, we missed that? Are we getting lucky? No. Okay. Yeah, tough call. Maybe the 8 ball was the right play there. He's coming to have a look at the 7. I do believe it goes. Oh man, it would be tough to give up this game too. The 6 probably still goes. I think the 6 and the 8 can both go in that pocket. So you just play thin on the 6 and sort of leave the 8 in there, but playing off the 6 means you have to get back down for the 7. Which can put a little more energy into the 8. Yeah, he's got to be careful about the 8 ball movement. Top priority is getting on the 7 though, so maybe you just make the 6 and give the cue ball enough energy to get back down for the 7. If the 8 ball gets weird, you have to deal with that after the 7. He's probably got a couple options on the 6 though, to play it clean or to play it off the 8. Whoa. Doesn't scratch. The 7-9 gets disturbed. The 7 appears to be playable from here. This works out for Charlie. I think does he come up to play the 8 in the side? Or does he just sort of slow roll it and take the 8 in the bottom left corner? I guess it depends how much of an angle he has on the 7. Yeah, you get all the way above this, I think. I like that play. Might have even underhit it slightly, which seems like it would be hard to do, but still workable. If he's flat on it, he can go into this top side, high right, just spin it down. Yeah, pretty full into the 8. Plays good, man. Made a good out, capitalizing on the opportunities here. There you go. All right, better cue ball. One ball's down. I have a look at the 2, but not a great option for making this thing. Really don't want to have to consider going safe here. I'm down 4. Yeah, being 4-0 in a race to 7. It's just not feeling like I'm getting chances. I know I've had chances, technically speaking, but are we banking this into the 7? I think I was just sending it 2 rails up table. Maybe even playing towards the 9. I got to make something happen here at this point. It does appear that he has an edge of the 2. It's touchy because he's got to shoot over the 9. But I mean, theoretically, you could come off the edge of the 2 and just send the cue ball right back down towards the 9. It's a big 9 ball with a 5 being right here. That'd be pretty demoralizing, man, if I hit a good break shot like that and then just he's able to get off the 2-9. Yeah, I think he's got an edge. At worst, he'd have to go into the rail here and then hit the 2, but still very hittable, even though you're awkwardly queuing over the 9. Still very hittable. Now, that being said, queuing over the ball, you're going to impart, unless you're hitting it perfectly along that vertical axis, unless you're hitting it perfectly there, you will impart some kind of sort of unintentional masse. Hits it at the right speed to not masse too much, but does not get the hit. All right, dude. Now or never, right? It's a runnable table. Hard to tell if the 5 goes past the 9 or not. It might. But even if it doesn't, you could just consider the 2-3 and then a 4-9 combo. I don't hate that. We got to get on the board. Coming out and away from the 3. The 3 plays in the right hand side, which I think is also very playable. But I'm probably at the point where I just want to shoot some balls in. Like, I just want to let my stroke out a little bit. And this played great. You know, I got to the right spot and I got the right speed. And I'm going to just line up this 4-9. A little snatchy still. Just the frustration coming through. I got to get settled. You could play this clean into the 9, or you could play the 4-ball rail first. Either way, it's... Man, that 9 almost didn't go. But we're on the board. Okay. He's got a good look at the 1. Basically, you can just come thin back off the 1 for the 2 in the side. You can hit that with a pretty good stroke and not really worry about the speed too much. Because anywhere through here, obviously with the exclusion of being behind the 9 ball, it's going to be fine for the 2. But I think this is pretty natural shape. Shouldn't have to do too much to get on the 2 ball here. The 6-7's a little funky in this rack, but I think still a playable combo. Okay, so he got kind of unlucky there. He played it a little too thick. No, too thin, actually, because he ended up going into the 2. So this is a hittable ball. You can definitely kick into this guy, but just kind of unfortunate to not end up with a better shot on the 2. Oh, he might even have the edge of it past the 9. Which if he does, he can just go thin and kind of split it and come back around behind the 9. Yeah, I think that's the right play. 2 looks like it's glued on the 5. I do think he left me a look at the 2. I might have an edge on that. The 2-5 doesn't go, I wouldn't think. I think it doesn't quite go to the corner. I don't think I have enough of the 2 ball to just play a stop shot and leave the cue ball there. This might just be come off the top side of the 2 and do the same thing, kind of split them, but get back behind the 9. I hit the 9 ball. Oh. It hurts. And Charlie's gonna just jump right on this 2-9 from across the table. Insult to injury. He's playing to win. There's nothing wrong with that. It's an interesting play, though, to put the cue ball so close to the first object ball. My instinct is to give myself a little more space. Maybe I'm just unnecessarily concerned about a double hit. But realistically, if you hit it clean, having the cue ball that close is going to minimize the variables, right? It's just going to kind of minimize the chances that you mishit that first ball. We're in a tough spot, guys. Down 5-1. This 1 ball's playable. We got to do something to settle. And take this back a little bit. So we ended up with a good look at the 1. Natural shape on the 2. But the 5 is tied up. So we either have to get below the 5 or come up with some kind of safety play for the 5. That's what I'm looking at there, is getting down on the 3. Where do I want to end up on the 5? Might be coming around for the 3 in the same side. Into the 3. This is kind of tricky because you can't easily come off the left side of the 3. You have to get around the 6 a little bit. Just send the 3 up table. I guess that was the idea. Just sort of create a cluster. Doesn't feel like a strong play. That's not it, guys. Got to do better than that. Because Charlie's kind of squirrely, you know. He's gonna figure something out. Because he can definitely make this 3 ball, and then Yeah, may get a good line on the 5. You could end up over here on the 5. Try to put me behind the 9. It's a lot of cue ball movement, though. Yeah, this will be interesting to see. I mean, he's got a lot of distance. I don't think the combo plays in any kind of way between those 4 up there. Hmm. I think he knew he wanted to just stay there and not complicate the 3 ball, but probably just overthought that one a little bit, and it got away from him. Kind of jabbed at it instead of stroked it. So now we can do a lot with this 3 ball. We can roll through this, coming out along like that. We could draw back off the 3. It's going to kind of come this way, probably, depending on how we spin it. But there's a lot of ways to get down towards the 5. I don't think you get too greedy here. I think you just make sure that you give yourself a look at the 5. Goes without saying, but make the 3. Oh, I'm playing into him. And I miss everything? Yeah, that figures. Yeah. I hit it pretty good. So thin off the right side of the 5 towards the 6-8. Ideally, you'd leave the 5 on the top of the 9. You don't want to hit too much of the 5 to give up a shot on the 5. That's too much of the 5. Yeah. Well, he's got a cue over the 6, but the 5 is very makeable. Problem is, if he makes the 5, what are you doing with the 6? You're not going to have much of a look at that. Do you try to go safe here? I think the 5's frozen. Gonna play on the outside of the 5 and bank it across table. Tricky. Yeah, I think we verify that it's frozen. Makes a good hit. 5's driven to a rail. Is this cuttable to the point where you can play into the 8 and the 6? The frustration might be enough at this point that I'll just go aggressive here. Yeah, we're gonna go for it. We're gonna look. I'm gonna look at the back of the ball to cut this, and send the cue ball back around table. Smooth stroke. Missed it. And freed up the 6. And he's got a cut on the 5, I believe. If you make this 5 ball, it's thin. It's a thin back cut, but if he makes this 5 ball, he's very likely to get a look at that 6. It just goes this way sometimes. Man, he gets on the hill. See if Charlie brought his razor blade. Nope. Didn't like it. Right back into the cluster. I don't know, guys. Does the frustration get the better of me here too? This could work if you hit the 8 properly. Yeah, it's a mess though. I'm shaking my head. If you hit the 8 properly, that's what you got to look at. The 8 has to back cut the 6. Like this, which means the 9 has to hit the 8 this way. Let's see if I get out of the way so we can... Yeah, the 5 has to hit the 9 over here. This is tough. Looking at the 9 coming into the 8. Kind of outside of the 5. Don't love this. There's got to be a good safety option here, but I don't think I'm even considering it. I'm just going to hammer these. And of course the 6 doesn't go. But the 8 ball goes? Cross side? Sure, I mean, that rearranged everything. Nothing great on the 5, except a long table bank back towards me. I don't think you want to play this with draw. Unless I'm worried about a double hit, but I think it's far enough off the rail that I'm not going to double hit it. Oh, I'm going to miss this ball. Wait. Yeah, I spun it out. Okay, I mean, we didn't sell out anything super easy. Tough games, man. Especially coming off of the day before. I remember how it felt. I'll say that. Is he looking at kicking into the 5? Not sure what that was. Maybe a kick. I don't think you'd really want to try to cut this in the side. Although the advantage of trying to cut it in the side is if you make it, you're going to get a look at the 6. If you miss, the 5's going up table. You could potentially block them behind the 6. Maybe that is a good two-way. Is he looking at cross banking it? I think the 6 is in the way, right? Not sure what he's measuring. He was trying to do the... Okay. Maybe he was looking at sending it back towards the 9. I'm not sure. This is a chance. Not a great chance, but this 5 ball is very makeable. And in making the 5 ball, you're probably going to get down below the 6 to play it in the side, if not the same corner. You really don't want to mess with spin here if you can avoid it, although normally I do like to put a little inside on this to straighten it out. I think you just focus on making this ball. We need a game. Oh, we missed it. Pretty bad. What is this, though? Oh my goodness. We caught a roll. Big time. That's pretty gross. I don't think Charlie deserved that one. This is a hittable ball. You can definitely kick into this 5 ball, and it's makeable. But of all the places for the cue ball to end up after missing that 5, yeah. I could see him making a good hit here. It'd be great for him if he made it. You might not have great shape on the 6, but yeah, you got to make this hit though, because ball in hand is game over here. Well, theoretically. Makes the hit. And I have a decent look at the 5, long and straight in. But if there's any shot that's going to settle me down, it's this long straight in shot. You got to just trust fundamentals here. If I'm feeling really spicy, I'll follow through this a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. That's going to help. Because this is a big opportunity, and to capitalize on this can help me feel like there's a swing happening. Although with alternate break, it's a little tougher. Not that either of us is doing any break and runs. We needed this game, man. Charlie's breaking. What did we end up with? Could be a good chance. 2 to the 3 is tough. The 4 to the 5 is tough. Would not surprise me if we ended up looking at a safe from here. But, man, I'll tell you, if there's any table run to settle you down, it would be this one. I think we just roll through this one, come back out for the 2 in the left side. Little nudge on the 6, but we knew we needed a good angle from the 2 to get to the 3. It's looking pretty good. Do we come out? Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Do we try to play in between the 7 and the 3? Or do we spin off the 2 and come across to play into a bigger window? If we're flat enough on the 2 in the side, I think coming across table makes the most sense. Yeah, we're going to try to just pull back off this. Sweet. Yeah, pretty full on the 2. Playing it really thick into this point. And from here, I think you go low right. I think you have to try to come out and around tight behind the 6. But this is one of those where you're spinning the 3 in, so you have to kind of almost aim to miss it. I don't know if we have to play on the right side of the 6 or if we can actually get onto the good side of the 6 on the left side. I think you just trust it. I think you just go for this. You might be tempted to play safe here, which would be fine. Just roll through the 3 and leave him on the 5, but at this point, man, I don't want to be giving up the table. That worked out pretty well. Almost overhit it. But now we have work to do to get on the 5. What I'm looking at is you don't need to get too cute on the 5, right? You don't need to be down here. Up here is completely fine, which means that just coming across table would work. I guess you could try to roll down through this, but no, I'm going to try to pull back away from this sort of low right. You don't need much. That looks pretty good. I think this is a similar shot. Low outside has been the prevailing theme of this rack. And we don't want to have to play into the 9 or the 8 or to go to the left side of them. I think we go low right again to come out and around the 7. Yeah, towards the 6. Smooth, low outside. That pretty good. Again, almost overhit it, but totally playable from here with a 6. If anything, you're going to end up with a favorable angle to get into this zone for the 7. In here. It looks like I could get even out to here based on what I was just showing. Do we hold this or do we come across? We might be able to just low outside again. Yeah, we do. Spinning down for the 7. Almost every shot this rack, including this one, low outside. Because to play the 8, just get up to here. Yeah, into the rail there and bounce out to your window. This is low left. It's low outside again. Good speed. And we're just below the 8 so that we don't have to run into the 9. You just sort of pop the 8 in and the cue ball drags up. Had to punch off it a little bit to get some space. That one feels good, man. That's how I'm supposed to be playing. Really strong table run. And then I guess I broke dry. He's reasonably close to the 2, so going with a dart stroke. one is makeable. Pretty close. And catches a roll by hiding the one and in such a place that if I don't make contact with the one, a 1-9 is very available for him with ball in hand. I remember this situation. I spend quite a while trying to figure this one out of how to make a good hit on the one, which just didn't seem doable from lots of angles. I don't have this one rail kick based on where I am on the 8. I remember that not being available. Going between the 2 and the 6, I wasn't able to catch the edge of the 1, and it's too far past the 3 to tighten it back up and to try to come in this way and catch the edge of the 1 on the way back up. The jump's not on. 6 is too far away from the cue ball. You'd have to think about trying to land on the 1 or something, and I don't know how to do that. You could try to come around the 2 this way with spin into the 1. Maybe that's the play. I don't know if I considered that while I was at the table. The 2 rail's not on because the 9 ball's in the way. Yeah, I was just looking at the 2 rail, I think. Oh, you can't hit it, the 9 ball's in the way. Or maybe even the 4 ball's in the way, or both. Okay, that looks like I did consider going around the 2 and spinning into it, but must not have liked it. I think what I end up doing here is just giving up ball in hand and rearranging things. Just try to take that 1-9 out of the equation. But we give up ball in hand and tables all spread out. And he is going to consider the 1-9. Just unfortunate rolls to have had the 1 ball end up in a playable position over there. He looks at playing the 1 to get on the 2, which to me is very playable. The 3's playable. I mean, it's an open table. I guess the only complicated thing might be getting from the 7 to the 8, but even then, you'll have wide open path off the 6 to get on the 7. I don't see a lot of problems with the run out, but I think in Charlie's mind, he's up 5-3. He has ball in hand. If he makes this combination, he's on the hill. If he misses it, he's sending the 1 around table. It's a bit of a 2-way. Play to win. I don't know if this is allowed. Probably, different events are going to have different rules, but I've certainly seen in pro events where it's considered a foul to use a ball to try to judge clearance. In this format, that might not even be a consideration. He entertains some other possibilities, but ultimately he's going to settle on this 1-9 combination. He does nudge the 6 out of the way, which I get up to correct that. And then he immediately moves it again. And I move it back. He was very apologetic, very deferential, and he was saying he's super shaky and just gonna avoid using his one hand. I was like, do what you got to do. And as before, he's putting the cue ball extremely close, at least for my taste, extremely close to the object ball. Which I get for the reasons I mentioned before, but still, right? Doesn't this... Would this feel risky to you guys? Am I making things up? let me know. I mean, drop a comment. Like, I could use some discussion on this, but it seems like it's just a little too much. Like, okay, admittedly, in this case, we're close to the rail, but and that's the reason I'm watching. I'm standing at the table because I want to really make sure that we're not creating a double hit. He successfully executed it last time, though, so we know he can do it. And it is a very thin back cut on this 9 ball, especially for a combo. Looked okay to me. Charlie's on the hill. Makes a whole bunch of them on the break. And he's got to look at the one, but it's not a great look. It's similar to the shot that I had on the one earlier in this set. But if you bear down and make this 1 ball, the cue ball could naturally come back out for the 4. You got to put a pretty good stroke on it, but overcut. All right, man. We need another game. This is a great opportunity. Very runnable table. Just sort of pinch off the 1. There's a big breath. We're using our skills. Yep. Pinch back off the 1, get a little bit of an angle off the 4 that sends you down towards the 6. If you're on the back side of the 6, you come out and around for the 8. If you're on this side of the 6, you just come back up. Really don't foresee any problems here. Played that pretty full. Just a stop shot will do on the 6. We don't need to move this. Then you just go high inside to come back up for the 8. But I'm going to do a little too much, I guess. Maybe I just wanted to let it out. To me, this seems a little more complicated because now we're straighter on the 6. Yeah, I'm looking a little jerkier now. Yeah, frustration's getting to me. Overplayed that big time. That's what you get. Not staying smooth and controlled like we need to. This is a very, very runnable table that suddenly is unnecessarily complicated. Still playable. Like, we can still get out, but it's a good play. Almost make both. That ended up pretty bad. A little bit more of a stroke and the 9 would have dressed up for the top right, but we just did not need to be there on the 8 ball. Going safe. Really sent it towards the pocket. But good speed. Got back up to this top rail pretty well. So Charlie's got to make a decision. Does he try to cut this in? It is cuttable, but it's very thin. And you turn the cue ball loose like that, bad things can happen. He could try to bank it. It's pretty tight to here. Double hit might occur. Not sure what he's looking at now. It might just be the angle of the cue ball coming off, like trying to get safe that way. Yeah, I did put him in a tough spot. It's not the strongest safety because some players will just run up and cut this in without thinking about it. But I guess for a player like Charlie, it works okay. I could see him trying to bank this in. Reverse banking, it's a little touchy though, right? Because you double hit, you scratch. Yeah, I would be a little scared to try to send the 9 ball back here. He tried to cut it. Did we knock back into the 9? We have a look at the 9. Knocked back into it a little bit. We did not end up glued to it. You gotta just big exhale. Straight cue delivery. Nice and smooth. Needed that one, man. It hurts. That's it. Congrats to Charlie. A good, respectful opponent. He came up to me at the end, very sort of apologetic, and he said something to me like, "Listen, I don't think he actually apologized, but just his tone, his demeanor was very apologetic, and he said something like, "I've never played as good of a race to 7 in my life." It's like, I'm happy for you, like I'm glad it worked out for you today. Um, for my part, this tournament, so I'm out, obviously, like it's double elimination. So I went 0 for 2, and it was deeply disappointing to me. I came away from this one. It was a pretty rough sting for a little while. To basically just like donate to the field and not really feel like I got my money's worth. Not feel like I had enough chances to play my game. There were a lot of complaints, a lot of negativity that was coming out of this that I had to process for a while. And indeed, looking back on this is tough. Even today, even like a month removed, whatever it is, from the tournament. That's how these things go. Like we all know, at the end of the day, you're always going to have more scars than trophies, right? So just keep doing the work, keep showing up, You can't rely on rolls and luck. The game's always going to be weird. I mean, this is bar box 9-ball, right? So weird stuff's always going to happen. Luck is a factor. Like, nobody can control for all that. The best thing we can do is just play our best game and stay level and take advantage of those opportunities, and that's what I'm trying to do. So, big picture, my game is improving. I am getting better. I'm getting better results, from just focusing on having a better process. So it's good ultimately, but it definitely is a drag to go out for a big event like this and just feel like, man, that felt like a waste of time, or yeah, just the negativity, like I said, that I was processing. So I'm glad to be through it. I'm glad to be over it. More content on the way. We're still into the Masters season. Some really cool videos of that coming up. So thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.